Hello, welcome to My Secret Obsession. I'm Cherish Lively, and today we are listening to The Cause War by Jeanette Geller. War is coming. Sides must be chosen. Falling for the enemy can mean the ultimate sacrifice. Chapter 1. Things Fall Apart. Diana. Diana closed the sliding glass door, firmly shutting away the jovial sounds of music and overjoyed wedding guests. She pressed play again. This is unbelievable. Almost 14 years of marriage ruined with one sentence from a voicemail. She thought to herself. Diana, my name is Candace. You don't know me, but it's time you knew that your husband is a lying shit who is fucking a 24-year-old with more tits than brains. Diana looked up at the soft click of the sliding door as Lana stepped out into the darkness of the wedding hall's screen-enclosed wooden deck. Lana's blonde, pixie-like figure quickly spotted Diana and marched to her side. Her blue-eyed gaze zeroed in on the phone in Diana's hand. As a friend and your lawyer, I must advise you that listening to that skank's voicemail again isn't going to bring you anything but pain. Tomorrow we go on the offensive. I'm going to rip him a new one in divorce court. Lana, we have 3 kids, a mortgage, a farm. I gave him everything but the fucking dog he asked for. How could Joshua do this? Despair washed over Diana as her gaze lifted to the faux Starry Night decorations strung around the deck and in the reception hall before she closed her eyes in pain and blocked out the jovial sounds coming from inside. Shh, it's not your fault. Lana's long blonde tresses were held in place by several matching pink clips that gave her soft beauty the opportunity to shine. Diana didn't move or put away her phone. Lana retreated back into the main reception rooms. Her soft sigh signaled her resignation before she retreated back into the wedding hall. Fine, if you're going to be stubborn, then I'm bringing in reinforcements. Diana returned to the recording. Candace's dramatic sigh and nasal, whiny voice came through the phone speakers. Joshua has got to be thinking with his dick and not his head. I don't know what he sees in her. I'm beautiful, brilliant, and in line for the next VP position. She's a receptionist, for fuck's sake. Can you believe that? Who would you be more proud to have on your arm, the VP of digital marketing, or the fucking coffee girl in charge of making copies for my assistant? I thought he wanted a woman with drive, not someone content to be a housewife. I may not be in line to be VP of anything, bitch, but I've started not 1, but 2 businesses, all while taking care of 3 children and a worthless husband. I thought he learned after upgrading to me, but now he's messing around with a 24-year-old woman whose parents couldn't come up with something more creative than spelling heaven backward. Ugh! You can't spell trailer park trash easier than that. Diana paused the recording. There is a 3rd one. I can't forgive him for this. Hot, visceral hate built into a pulsing headache, and unshed tears filled her eyes. She swallowed them back and pressed the play button again on the voicemail to hear more of the nasal voice sealing the fate of her marriage. She can't elevate him to the executive level. Hell, she can't even eat in the executive lounge. 6 months with me, and he's looking at the head ad executive position? Let's see him rub elbows with the big dogs of the bitch who needs full-body shapewear to pull off a pair of skinny jeans. He has to have a fat fetish I didn't know about. First, he's with you, and now the trailer park princess. Diana flinched at the soft click from someone opening the sliding doors. The band's music flooded the quiet space. Out of the closet, a cover band played one of her favorite slow songs. The lead singer, Queen Eve, grew up with Diana and Dee and played in their high school garage band as Gerald, their male lead singer. The door slid closed, and Diana tensed for the confrontation she knew was coming. Steph's strawberry blonde locks were decorated with pale green pins. Its length brushed the tops of her shoulders. Lana sent me, and you don't want her to come back. She held out a hand, palm up, silently asking for the phone. Diana's memory snapped to the one detail of the voicemail. They've been together for 6 months. For half a year, Joshua had not just a side piece, but an entire relationship going on. Steph. I couldn't even get him to care enough to show up for the parent-teacher conference, but he somehow managed 2 women on the hook. Steph stood at the same 5'8" as Diana, but that's where their similarities ended. With strawberry blonde hair, round almond brown eyes, and a leaner, willowy build, Steph stood tall in her turquoise strapless mini dress. Her brown eyes flashed in determined anger. We're going to hit him harder than the Packers beat the Bears last night. He will pay, Diana, but wallowing in the pain right now won't do anything but let him win. Diana returned to the voicemail. She knew the nasal pest had one more knife to dig in. He was going to leave you. We were going to be the next power couple, but if he thinks he can make a fool of me and get away with it, he's got another thing coming. Good luck, and since you couldn't figure it out on your own— Candace paused to draw a breath for the rest of her tirade. When he's working late, he's really working me. Through her tear-blurred eyesight, the sliding doors opened again, and a new masculine scent joined them on the balcony. Diana watched as strong, chestnut-brown hands took the phone from her, shutting off the harsh sound cackling from the device. Now, what kind of maid of honor sits at her best friend's wedding, sobbing in a corner, when she should be dancing with the groom and waiting for the show to start? Martin's jet-black hair was cut short, tapered, and emphasized his classically beautiful facial structure. His black shawl-collar tuxedo wrapped his broad shoulders beautifully. His turquoise boutonniere and handkerchief complemented his darker skin tones, while elegantly matching the bridesmaids' dresses. Martin pulled out his handkerchief to lightly dab at Diana's eyes. Lucky for you, my bride thought of everything. Dee sprung for the bulletproof makeup package, or I'd be dancing with a raccoon. Diana took his hand, attempted to smile, and followed him to the dance floor. Eve, out of the closet's lead singer, began to sing "There's a Hero" as they swayed to the band's keyboard accompaniment. The lights dimmed as Eve geared up to belt out the sultry tones. Martin held Diana close and rubbed her back. Diana, you know you're our family, not by birth, but by choice. We're not going to let you through this alone. Lee, Lana, Steph, and I will all have your back. Diana nodded wordlessly as Eve drew the crowd out when she perfectly hit the chorus. Martin twirled Diana into a dip, just as Eve sang the chorus. Diana twirled back into Martin's arms as she completed the line, allowing the lyrics to lift her spirits. To their left, Steph and Alice swayed gracefully together to the music. Silence fell over the dance floor as the crowd fell under the magic of the band's music. Diana sighed. I can't believe I didn't see it. Martin, this has been going on for years. Martin swayed with the music. Diana, this is on him, not you. After mulling it over, Diana smiled as the crowd went wild when Eve flawlessly hit her signature high notes. A few moments later, he squeezed her hand and said, There's my girl. Diana and Martin broke apart to applaud the band as they finished the song. Martin leaned over to whisper in her ear, Now we can start the show. Diana's questioning gaze met his calm face before she turned to where he was pointedly looking. Her brain forgot her question as she saw who stood at the hall's entrance. I can't believe he came, she whispered. Diana's head pounded with the force of her anger and hatred when her cheating husband, Joshua, entered the hall. His body was lean and perfectly manicured. Diana cringed at how she once thought Joshua's persnickety attention to the details of his appearance was an attractive trait. As of this afternoon, when she received that blasted voicemail, she now knew that the product-heavy hair and careful facial grooming was only so he could attract other women. Martin placed his hand on the small of her back and steered her off the dance floor in Joshua's direction. The notes of the music shifted as Out of the Closet switched to a new song. The band announced that they were going to switch it up and perform a mashup of songs. Eve nodded at her and began the next song, Katy Perry's Rise. Diana pulled back to stay on the dance floor. Martin, I'd really rather stay here. I really like this song, and Eve does Katy Perry so well. A familiar feminine voice spoke. I thought you told her about the show, Mr. Lord. Martin moved closer to his wife. His heated gaze began at her flawless mocha legs showcased by the short skirt of her white skater dress and ran up her body. Martin ran his palm down Dee's back, stopping just above her ass. A stab of jealousy hit Diana at the intimate look passed between the couple. Dee's brown eyes sparked at her new husband with arousal. Dee arched a single eyebrow. Tease. Martin's palm didn't move from its place above her ass. More like a promise, Mrs. Lord. Lana's small blonde figure towed Steph off the dance floor. She tapped her heeled foot impatiently. Get a room, you two. We have to get this show on the road. Dee pulled her lusty gaze from Martin. Lana's right. She pointed to a server passing by. Steph, grab that tray. She strode forward towards the entryway. Lana and Steph trailed behind her, while Diana hung back with Martin. Dee's smile did not reach her eyes when she placed her hand on the shoulder of her unwanted guest and casually flicked up the collar of his shirt. Good evening, Joshua. I just love that shirt. Is that Armani? Joshua looked up to Dee's over 6-foot shapely frame with distrust in his eyes. He shook his head nervously before he glanced at the two shorter women flanking Dee. Joshua cleared his throat. No, it's Boss, I think. Dee picked at his shoulder. Oh, that's nice. Dee circled behind him. Diana, now in his line of vision, glared at Joshua. They locked eyes, and Diana saw the shift in Joshua's gaze. She could already hear his excuses and the many ways he would shift the blame of his extramarital affairs onto her. In Joshua's mind, everything was always someone else's fault, and he was always the victim. Dee smiled wickedly as the music swirled around them. Well, Martin and I sure are glad that you made time in your very busy schedule to make an appearance at our reception. Dee's tone caused Joshua to break eye contact with Diana and look up to her taller frame. Since you didn't make the ceremony, Martin and I didn't get a chance to find out if you were attending alone, or should we have made room for you and one of your +1s? Steph eyeballed him. I'm sure we can find you a place downwind so the smell of skank doesn't bother the guests. Joshua's gaze flicked between the women before he nervously licked his lips and answered, I would never step out on Diana. You ladies have known me for over a decade. You take the word of some random person off the street over someone you share that kind of history with? Joshua took a step towards Diana. I'm sure I've earned more loyalty than that. I didn't do anything. This isn't the time for presenting evidence yet, Dee commanded Joshua's attention. No, right now, Martin and I just want to be generous hosts and check that you're enjoying yourself. Did you have trouble finding parking? Eve's voice belted out Carrie Underwood's Before He Cheats from the stage. Joshua looked up to the drag queen's sequin dress as she wagged her finger at him during the chorus as the crowd sang along. You still lease that Lexus, right? At Dee's question, Joshua's face shifted from thoughtful to anxious and finally angry. Joshua drew himself up so his full height of 5'11" against Dee's 6'2" in her heels. I don't like how you're talking to me. I think Diana and I should leave. Lana flicked her golden tresses. Well, he's half right. Dee shook her head. No, Joshua, you haven't even had anything to eat. Dee motioned for a waitress to approach. Like these liver pate bites. Diana moved to allow the waitress to hand Dee the entire tray. The server glanced at Joshua, who still stood in opposition to the bride, her employer. She read the room and retreated to the kitchen. Dee took a bite and slowly chewed before speaking. "These are just to die for. You should have some." Diana gasped as the tray hit Joshua squarely in the chest, forcing him back a step. The sticky liver paste sealed the tray to his shirt. Joshua's head bowed low to look at the mess smeared across his shirt. Bits of gray paste clung to his chin and cheeks. His hands gingerly wiped at his face, careful to keep the mousse out of his well-styled hair. Martin chuckled. My baby really put her back into that one. He handed Diana a glass of champagne from the table near them. But wait, there's more. Diana watched as Dee ate a Caesar salad crostini from Steph's tray. As the two other women circled Joshua, Dee smiled. Now these are amazing. Dee ignored the loud clang as the silver dish fell from Joshua's chest to the ground. Joshua raised his hands in surrender. All right, Dee, you got me. Steph slammed the tray into his back, causing him to step forward towards Dee, who gracefully sidestepped as he fell to the floor. Diana stared at Joshua lying on the floor of the hall before nervously looking around to see that the other guests were cheering and dancing to Out of the Closet's signature song, It's Raining Men. The lights near them were dimmed. Dee and the other goddesses planned this for me. Diana scrutinized the man she called husband as he picked the food off his shirt. He has never cared about anyone or anything but himself, unless they can make him look good. Diana exhaled slowly as Dee gracefully lowered herself to the floor next to Joshua. I could do better. Joshua is not worthy of a goddess. Diana handed Dee her glass of champagne. Wine would be better, but those stains will set soon if he doesn't get cleaned up. Dee stood, careful to avoid the mess on the floor. She smiled down at Joshua. You were really lucky to have a goddess taking care of you for so long. Normally, a selfish shit like yourself would be thrown out with yesterday's trash. Dee poured the drink over Joshua's head. But you didn't appreciate the gift you were given. Dee smiled at Diana. But don't worry. I think your goddess has realized your mistake. Lana handed over the 2 glasses to Dee before making sure the other ladies had glasses as well. Joshua looked up in horror. Ladies, this isn't necessary. This is something that should be between my wife and I. Diana's temper rose swiftly inside of her. Me and my wife? You stupid son of a bitch. Diana threw the wine in his face. For years I have corrected your presentations and your papers and supported your work, whatever you needed, and you never really cared about me or our family. Not anymore. Joshua rose up on his knees. Honey, you can't mean that. We've been together for so long. Think about the children. Diana's face smoothed with the serenity of her choice. I am. Then she turned on her heel and walked back to Martin's side. The women looked down at Joshua's kneeling form before Lana remarked, You're a mess, Joshua. Her small nose crinkled, more than your normal level of hot mess. Steph nodded. Lana's right. Joshua, you really made a mess of things this time. Dee, careful not to touch any of the mess and ruin her bridal reception dress, sighed as she raised her glass of wine. The difference is this isn't going to be Diana's mess to take care of. Dee locked eyes with Joshua and slightly tipped her second glass over him. Right? Joshua's nod seemed to satisfy her because she stood up. Remember, Joshua, you fuck with one goddess and all of us will fuck you back. Steph's lip rose in a smirk. Lee took a step back, and the other women followed her lead. So, Joshua, are you going to clean up your mess, or are we going to have to do it for you? Lana gleefully regarded him. I really hope you make this go to court. I look forward to the evidence submission for this case. You mentioned loyalty before, but trust me when I say you've fucked up big time. Joshua stood up only to slip on the liver smeared onto the tiled floor. Dee's cool gaze watched his attempts to regain his footing. I don't want to have your mess on my dress. Dee lifted the toe of her silver Jimmy Choo's slingbacks. You're like the shit that gets stuck on your shoe walking on the street. Diana briefly examined the bottom of the silver shoe Dee held up, then nodded. You're good. Dee smiled. Good. Now I can trust you can find your way out. I will ruin my dress by doing it if I have to. Martin gleefully tissed. No, babe. The hall has a trash removal service. His hands circled her waist and pulled her back against him. Besides, I don't want you to get dirty. I have plans for this dress. His hands moved upwards, almost but not quite touching the underside of her breasts. Oh, yes. Plans for tonight. Plans for our anniversary. And that's not counting my spontaneous reenactment plans. Martin kissed the back of her neck. We're going to get all our money's worth out of this dress. Lana impatiently stamped her silver kitten heels and rolled her eyes at the lovebirds. Ah, we get it. It's your wedding and you're in love. She pointed at Joshua. Dipshit, take a hint and get out. Get out of Diana's life. Get out of this hall. Clear enough for you? Joshua managed to stand up, and after a final indictment glare at the group, he quickly retreated to the exit. Lana turned to Dee, who started to walk towards the stage. Now that the trash is gone, can we get ready for the set? It was your idea to play at your own wedding instead of sitting back and enjoying the day like a normal person. Dee stopped at the edge of the stage, bending to pull on a white, shimmery veil. This is me enjoying myself. Diana helped her adjust the veil over her hair. Besides, she has to remind Martin he married a goddess. Diana placed her fist inside the circle of women. Balls to the wall. All three women answered with a fist bump. And one for all. Eve's loud voice sounded over the speakers. And now, for the act you have been waiting for. Bow down, bitches, because you're on holy ground. Eve threw her arms into the air. I give you 𝘚𝘪𝘥𝘮𝘪𝘯𝘨 goddesses. The crowd's cheers rose with the women as they climbed the stairs and took their instruments. Dee and Eve hugged and air kissed while passing on the microphone. Eve and the other drag queens who made up out of the closet hugged and air kissed Diana while she warmed up her fingers. Thank you. I don't think there was a better song to beat his ass to. Diana laughed. Anytime, hun. Really, it was a sight to see him slipping in all that liver pate. Eve's full-bodied laugh was contagious. Diana checked her red and white electric guitar while she listened to Dee turning her stage persona on full blast. You heard, Queen Eve. Bow down and worship. I want to hear your praise. You don't want to piss off a goddess, because there will be divine retribution. The crowd got louder. Dee nodded. That's more like it. I was worried for a minute that I had walked into the wrong hall, like that campaign rally in Texas is going on. Should I spout bullshit and empty promises? Or do you want to partay and celebrate that my man put a ring on it? Dee flashed her ring for the crowd to see, then turned to look at Diana, who nodded at their signal for her to start the first song. Diana's fingers glided over the strings, letting the first few bars of music wash over her body and soul, clearing out all the anger and animosity that was coursing through her only moments ago. Right now, there was nothing but music. Diana smiled at Dee's confused look at her song choice. Martin had the idea to perform this song for the duet because it was special to Dee, but he couldn't pull it off without help from Lana, Steph, and Diana. The spotlight flashed on as Martin joined them on the stage. Surprise, babe. Dee's face lit up as Diana restarted the song. Dee and Martin joined hands as they sang together. When they reached the chorus, the duo's passion radiated out to the crowd. The love that radiated between them left no doubt that they would be making love all night, as the lyrics proclaimed. Diana's heart swelled watching her two friends celebrate their union in front of everyone they loved. This is the way marriage is supposed to be, The excitement, the partnership. Diana cut off her thoughts when the guitar solo came up. Even if it was only for a moment, she let the music wash away the bad in her life. When the song finished, Dee lustfully kissed Martin, then turned him 180 degrees and pushed him towards the stairs off the stage. "You can't stay, or I'm going to need to end the show and send all these folks home." Martin kissed her cheek. "Later, babe." He left the stage, and Dee addressed the crowd. "And he's not some whack-ass politician, folks. When he says later, I know I'm getting laid tonight." Dee's mother's expression stopped her from continuing. "Sorry, Mom." The crowd laughed, and Dee's gaze caught Diana's eye. Diana played a few bars, but Dee shook her head. "No, this is my wedding, and I think it should be about me." With a big smile, Diana rolled her eyes and looked at Lana before starting the bars for the next song. Luckily, the song had a longer lead-up, and Dee took the time to whip up the crowd. "I want to see some dancing on this, folks." Steph's face split into a huge grin, because her drums were the driving force in the Toby Keith song, "I Want to Talk About Me." Dee danced around the microphone stand while she sang the song, but when the chorus hit, Dee pointed to the crowd. "But seriously, who do I want to talk about?" She held the microphone out over the stage as the crowd sang the chorus. A couple of guests tried their hand at line dancing during the song as two of Dee's cousins showed off their cowboy hustle moves. "Aw, these guys are about to break it down for y'all like we're back in the country." The guys ran into some trouble when they ran into a man standing in the middle of the dance floor, fully absorbed in his phone. Someone poked his charcoal suit. "Hey, buddy, we're dancing here. Move off the dance floor if your gab chat is too engrossing." The stationary guy's horror-filled look caused Diana to pause her playing. His face paled under the lights and yelled, "They're all dead. A bomb went off at the president's rally in Austin." If you enjoyed this reading, please follow, subscribe, or give a thumbs up. Your support means everything to me. Full audiobooks are available for free on My Secret Obsession podcast, found on iHeart, Apple, Amazon, and Spotify. Until we meet again, goodbye and happy reading.